Hello and welcome back, and it's time for another best of the year video, and today we are looking at the very best 4, 5 or 6 bay NAS of 2025. That's a hell of a mouthful, isn't it? Why on earth am I going for such a wide remit? Well, let me explain. And by the way, if you only want to know the results, there are chapters at the bottom, but indulge me a little bit. Over the years, whenever we've looked at the best NAS releases released year on year from all of these brands, we try to separate them into 2, 4, 5, 6 and 8 bay variations. However, the lines have become spectacularly blurry in recent years. Systems that have arrived with 5 or 6 bays of hard drives, but also arriving with multiple M.2 NVMe bays. And ultimately, it has meant that for lots of users moving away from cloud service that are looking for a robust and future-proof on-prem bare metal local server, they have been looking at RAID 5 solutions that provide a little bit of hard drive or a little bit of SSD en masse. RAID 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. bays of storage. And that is what today's video is about. All of the solutions I'm going to talk about are ones that have been released in 2025. It'd be very easy for me to highlight devices that have been released in previous years that are still available to buy. However, because of the nature of software updates on a lot of these solutions, or even BIOS updates being available from the brands, I know there are people that are going to buy a device in 2025 and indeed into 2026 that are looking for the latest and greatest, and that's what this video is about. We're only looking at things that were released up to November 2025. So without further ado, let's talk about number 1. Hand on heart, there are very few things released in 2025 that left a bigger impact on me than this, the Minisforum N5. We spent half the year covering this device, and when it did release, it was released at the same time as another device, the Aoostar WTR Max. And I'll be honest with you, I really thought long and hard about which one of those was going to take this slot in this list. But realistically, the Minisforum N5 is just a great compact solution for me, arriving with not only some very unique design choices in how you can troubleshoot, how you can monitor, how you can look after the device and do maintenance, but alongside that arriving with a great CPU profile and a Ryzen 7 processor there, alongside the device arriving with 10 GBE networking, 5 GBE networking on the rear, a PCIe upgrades card slot that can be used for network upgrades, as well as utilizing GPU cards and more. Some fantastic integrated graphics, supporting a decent amount of memory over 2 SODIMM slots, arriving with a USB 4 connection there, arriving with an Oculink connection there. This device, along with 5 hard drive bays and those 3 M.2 NVMe slots inside, it even arrives with a 64 gig, now upgraded to 128 gig SSD inside, with their own operating system on board. And it's only knocking around at the moment for about $599. This has really reshaped what I think a lot of people spending around the 500 nicker mark expect to get for their money. And this is their first NAS. Christ knows what they're going to do in 2026. This is going to seem like something of a bonkers gear shift after talking about the Minisforum N5 and its insane powerhouse design, but our next entry is this, the Ugreen DH4300 Plus. A value series ARM-powered NAS device that I think is probably largely overshadowed by that Minisforum. So why on earth has this device made the cut? Well, because they've just done so bloody much with it. This device we've seen as low as $339 during sales, and still in most places you can pick it up for around $399. This arrives with an 8-core ARM CPU, along with 8 gig of memory ready to rock. It's also got its own operating system, more on that in a moment, and has a power consumption as low, with just SSDs inside if you choose, as low as 12 to 13 watts. Obviously bigger hard drive you use are going to use up more power, but this device supports 4 hard drives there. It doesn't have any M.2 NVMe slots inside, but what it does make up for that with is simply the capabilities of the software, even from Ugreen, who are still, frankly, green in the NAS market, giving you not only containerization and Docker support here, not only arriving with an HDMI out, which is kind of rare on a lot of ARM turnkey NAS devices, and that's an 8-core ARM, by the way, remember. Not only have you got that, and thanks to that containerization, multimedia applications you can run from there, but it even supports iSCSI, which is something, again, we don't see a lot of in the ARM sphere outside of the big QNAP Synology players. Now, it only has one network port at 2.5 gig, so you're going to oversaturate the hell out of that with 4 bays there on the top, but it is about the impact of it. If you are looking at a 4-bay solution, you're looking to take advantage of RAID 5, you want the features and capabilities of a modern turnkey NAS solution, but you don't want to spend a lot of money, you don't want a big electricity bill, and you don't want a lot of noise, this is a phenomenal entry in terms of value devices, and has earned its place on this list. It's not the most powerful device, but of all of the devices I'm going to talk about, it's definitely the smallest, lightest impact. At this point, I'm feeling like a broken record, but of all of my best ofs that I've talked about at the end of 2025, something we do this every single year, I have never seen one NAS appear in practically every single category. Yet, the Beelink ME Mini has weirdly achieved it. This arriving as low as $209. It arrives with an Intel quad-core processor. It arrives with 12 to 16 gig of memory. It arrives with 6 M.2 NVMe slots. It even has an area of storage of eMMC inside for an operating system of your choosing. Again, you could go light like a Zimmer OS or an Open Media Vault, or you could go hefty with an Unraid, a Proxmox, a true NAS. It arrives with 2.5 GBE, 2 ports there. It's even got an internal PSU. Talking about low impact on that Ugreen, this is tiny. And that CPU, which has a TDP of just 8 to 10 watts, and each of the 6 M.2 NVMEs on here, only probably hitting at most 4 to 5 watts each. This thing is going to be so light on power consumption, yet highly capable. There's a lot to love here. The internal PSU, something of a quirky design choice, particularly at this scale, when I think everyone would have assumed that they would have had an external PSU. It's an absolute design delight. Underneath this casing, it's one giant heatsink. Of these 6 M.2 bays, by the way, 5 of them are Gen 5 times 1. That means it's going to give you around 800 to 900 megabytes per second realistic throughput for each SSD you put in there. But one of them is Gen 3 times 2. So that means an even faster slot, giving you around 1.5 to 1.6 gigabytes per second transfer speeds. Add to that we're seeing M.2 NVMe SSDs drop for as low as 4 TB for $200. So now it's only double the cost of hard drives. It isn't 3 to 5 times the price as it used to be. This makes it genuinely an interesting option for those hopping away from cloud services that want a robust but highly storage capable and long living own in-house data storage solution. Now, for a long time, TerraMaster were considered the budget option. While they had bigger players like Synology and QNAP sucking the air out of the room in the NAS industry, TerraMaster tried to keep things really cost effective, and unfortunately that did reflect on their software to a degree. Now, fast forward to 2025, the market has shifted, the industry has changed, and notwithstanding, there are a lot more OS-free and entry-level DIY Chinese NAS players in the market that have really started to worry the likes of Synology and QNAP in the home market because they are such big entities and they can't really move quickly. A brand like TerraMaster has kind of reinvented itself because they, with their TOS NAS operating platform, manages to toe the line between giving you great hardware for your price point, but now a much more integrated software solution than a lot of those up-and-comers in Chinese DIY NAS solutions and new NAS operating systems can offer. Now, this is the F4 425 Plus. Rocking around a 500 to 6650 NICA mark, it has 4 hard drive bays and 3 M.2 NVMe bays inside. So 7 potential bays of storage. Now, not only with those hard drive bays have you got support support of a flexible RAID system, also known as T-RAID, that allows you to mix and match drives. Currently in the market right now, only 2 brands offer that, Synology and them, but the M.2 NVMe's inside can be used both for caching, read and write caching, as well as storage pools. The system also arrives, if we look out the rear, with 2 5 gigabit network ports. So yes, it's not 10 GBE, but crucially, it's 5 gigabit networking in 2 of them, so there is a potential 10 gigabit network potential here. Obviously, it's going to depend on your network switches, but the idea that every other option on this list either arrives with 10 GBE or 2.5 GBE, this at the very least has got some scalability for that price point. This is challenging what the 550 price point of a NAS can be. Much like the Minis Forum offering went big, beefy and aggressive in its hardware, this focusing on their N150 CPU alongside scalable memory rather than fixed memory, along with 4 to 8 gig out of the gate. I believe it's 8 gig out the gate on this one that can be scaled up significantly, and TOS's operating system, which with TOS 7 in beta right now, has never looked so good. Security isolation mode, iSCSI support there, multi-tiered multi-site backup operations, multimedia support, third-party operation support, and unlike a few other turnkey NAS solutions in the market, they allow you to go ahead and install your own NAS operating system of choice without invalidating the warranty, something that some brands, UNAP, have a tendency to do. Bottom line, TerraMaster are kind of reshaping their platform in front of us as more people enter this NAS market, and for once upon a time, the brand that was considered the cheap end is now being seen as a much more established player. I'm not suggesting they are a Synology or a QNAP level yet, but I would say the lines are getting closer together between them, and with all of the platforms bubbling up from underneath, these guys are suddenly starting to look even better. I think it would be fair to say that the brand Synology, at least in the eyes of the home lab community, SMB, prosumer and home user, 2025 for Synology has not been a great year. They spent half of the year combating on multiple fronts, something of a PR disaster when it came to their hard drive support policy. Pretty much saying that you had to use their drives and nothing else. Now, there was so much pushback on this that after 6 months, the brand finally caved, realised they'd done effed up and reversed this policy. Now, there is no avoiding that right now, they have lost a lot of their lustre in the eyes of many, but for new NAS owners that want to have arguably one of the best NAS operating systems in the market, Synology and DSM still have a tremendous amount of appeal. And now this disastrous hard drive compatibility and support policy by them has been reversed. I think there are still going to be some users that are attracted to this brand. And those that are looking at 4, 5 and 6 bay solutions are still going to hear nice things about Synology. And I've got to say, if what you care about is the software, the Synology DS 1525 Plus is a great solution. I'm not going to say that the hardware is groundbreaking, at least in terms of Synology and what you get for your money. It's not terrible. It's a 4-core, 8-thread AMD V1500B processor, great for virtualization and containerization, although lacking graphics. It arrives with 8 gig of ECC memory on board. It has 2 2.5 gigabit network ports and the ability to upgrade to 10 GBE, though arguably with a proprietary upgrade. It can even be expanded by 10 more bays with the Synology expansion. It has 2 M.2 NVMe bays alongside that of the 5 hard drive bays. Now, all of that aside, again, the reason it's on this list is nothing to do with that hardware. Although the hardware is passable, I guess, it's the software in DSM. Currently in DSM 7.3, it's just got a lot going for it. Notwithstanding the collaboration suite, Synology Office, Synology Chat, Synology Drive, giving you probably the most similar experience to cloud service providers on your own bare metal solution seamlessly without using anything too overt or complicated. On top of that, you've got things like Synology Surveillance Station, a genuine award-winning, and I believe that because it is so good, surveillance app operation for your home and office. Alongside that, you've got things like their virtual machine manager, the ability to run containers, the ability to use active backup suite. If ever you see why people like Synology, they will more often than not talk about ABB or ABS. This is a premium grade, enterprise business grade level backup application that's just included with the appliance. It's just there. Ultimately, the Synology DS1525 Plus was never going to make this list based on its hardware. It's better than some of the things that Synology have, but it's not groundbreaking. But in terms of the software, this gives you the best variation of DSM at that price point, the best feature set against hardware and value, and ultimately, for those that are moving from cloud services and want the easiest, most streamlined experience, in 2025, there's still no better option than a Synology. But keep in mind, one, this brand could change its mind again about those hard drives. And two, those M.2 NVMe bays, you still got to use their drives. So you're not out the woods yet. But there you go. Those are the best 4, 5 and 6 bay NAS solutions of 2025. I'm pretty sure that last one's going to get some disagreements, and I'll see you in the comments. But if you found this video helpful, and if you were going to shop at the stores listed in the description anyway, and if you want to support what me and Eddie do, is literally just us doing this, then please use the links in the description to get hold of your NAS today. Doing so results in a small commission coming to us at NASCompares, genuinely just us, and it allows us to keep doing what we do. But crucially, you're doing it with zero extra cost than you were going to spend anyway. It's the most passive, frictionless way to support content creators. Of course, I will also link below to the individual reviews that we have made for every single one of the solutions we've discussed today. And for those of you that are wondering why the Aoostar never made the cut in this list, it's simply that it and the Minisforum N5 are just too damn similar, and realistically the Aoostar's availability globally is just nowhere near as good. So if only one of those two could make the hardware kind of focused entry on this list, I picked that one, the Minisforum over the Aoostar. But let's argue about that more in the comments. I'll see you next time.